Daily Words of God. Scarcely one among men understands God's urgent heart because people's caliber is too low and their spiritual sensitivity quite dull, and because they all neither notice nor heed what God is doing. So God keeps worrying about man, as if man's beastly nature could break out at any moment. This further shows that God's coming to earth is accompanied by great temptations. But for the sake of completing a group of people, God, laden with glory, told man of his every intention, hiding nothing. He has firmly resolved to complete this group of people. Therefore, come hardship or temptation, he looks away and ignores it all. He only quietly does his own work, firmly believing that one day when God has gained glory, man will know God, and believing that when man has been completed by God, he will fully understand God's heart. Right now, there may be people tempting God, or misunderstanding God, or blaming God. God takes none of that to heart. When God descends into glory, people will all understand that everything God does is for the well-being of mankind, and people will all understand that everything God does is so that mankind can better survive. God's coming is accompanied by temptations, and God also comes with majesty and wrath. By the time God leaves man, he will have already gained glory, and he will leave fully laden with glory and with the joy of return. The God working on earth does not take things to heart, no matter how people reject him. He is just doing his work. God's creation of the world goes back thousands of years. He has come to earth to do an immeasurable amount of work, and he has fully experienced the human world's rejection and slander. No one welcomes God's arrival. Everyone merely regards him with a cold eye. In the course of these several thousand years' worth of hardships, man's conduct has long ago shattered God's heart. He no longer pays attention to people's rebellion, but is instead making a separate plan to transform and cleanse man. The derision, the slander, the persecution, the tribulation, the suffering of crucifixion, the exclusion by man, and so on, that God has experienced in the flesh. God has tasted enough of these. God in the flesh has thoroughly suffered the miseries of the human world. The Spirit of God the Father in heaven long ago found such sights unbearable, and threw his head back and shut his eyes, waiting for his beloved Son to return. All he wishes for is that people all listen and obey, are able to feel great shame before his flesh, and not rebel against him. All he wishes for is that people all believe that God exists. He long ago stopped making greater demands of man because God has paid too high a price. Yet man is resting easy, not at all taking God's work to heart.